Hey everybody, I'm Jamie and I am Non-Toxic Farm Mom, and I thought we would kick off things on YouTube today with canning some salsa because I need to get it done. So I thought this would be the perfect time to share with you this busy farm mama's favorite way to make salsa, what my family loves the best, and it's just an easy hack. So I am gonna flip the camera around. I'm gonna show you my setup here and show you that if I can do this, anybody can do this. So if you've been thinking that canning or preserving your own vegetables, whatever, is too hard, it's not. If I can do it, you can do it, okay? So let me flip it around. So here is my favorite way to make salsa. Yes, we cheat. Okay, I used to stand in the kitchen and chop everything up all by myself, but this is so much easier. We found Mrs. Wages. I will probably put a link, an Amazon link below so you can find it easily, but this is my favorite. This is hot salsa for my husband and my son, and the medium salsa for my daughters and I. So that is my creative little hack. You can find this just about anywhere, but I like to shop off of Amazon and just get it sent right here. So here are some things that you will need. Obviously, canning jars, all right? Right now, they're easier to find than they were last year, right? During the COVID kickoff pandemic, but lots of people are canning and doing their own things right now. Typically, I just have lots of jars because I've been canning for a while, so I don't need to buy them like this. But right now, rings and lids are hard to find, and I really like the Ball brand. So I had to buy a case of jars last week just to get my lids. But you'll need lids and cans and rings, okay? I can in pint-sized jars for my salsa. I always keep a couple of extra smaller jelly jars when I do this because I tend to push the limits and I have a little bit left over, okay? Obviously, you're gonna need some tomatoes. These are tomatoes from my garden, so I've already weighed them out. Each packet takes about 6 pounds, but I always put a little bit more in, especially for the hot salsa. So I think this is closer to 7 pounds. You will need a hot water bath. Now this is what I use. I will put a disclaimer in here. You know, a lot of people think that you need to pressure can tomatoes now that they're not as acidic as they used to be, but I add vinegar to this salsa recipe, so they have always been fine in my hot water bath. You're going to need a pan to bring water to a boil so that you can boil these and scald these for about 3 minutes so the skin comes off so much easier. Okay, it's so much faster. This will have ice in it, so when we come back, this will have ice in it because after I boil them, I plop them down in ice and the skin just pops right off. And then a pot over here where we will chop up our tomatoes really fine and get them going for salsa. So I will get this all set up. I like to boil my jars ahead of time. I like my jars to be hot. So I'm gonna get these in my hot water bath over here and we will get going. The next step is we are ready to cook this yummy salsa. So I've got all those tomatoes that I scalded and peeled and boiled and cut up and then put into our blender just because my daughter likes it a little less chunky. Now we're gonna add my favorite Mrs. Wages salsa mix, right? Guys, this is so much easier. I mean, if you grow all of your own peppers and onions and things like that, of course it's fun to make your salsa, but it is super time consuming anytime you work with tomatoes. So I like to use this mix. Again, I will post the link below so you can get it where I get it on Amazon. So I pour it in and then I like to use a whisk because sometimes it gets a little bit clumpy. All right, so I'm gonna whisk it all and mix it in really good. And what I love about Mrs. Wages is we are an all-natural family, so we try, not to use those processed preservatives, processed foods and preservatives. And Mrs. Wages, everything in there is all natural and safe. Then we're gonna add in some vinegar, just some distilled white vinegar. This is on the back of the salsa mix, so it's right in the directions. You want to make sure, it doesn't matter what kind you use, as long as it's 5% acidity, okay? This is what will allow you not to have to pressure can it. So just pour it in there and give it a quick stir. And then we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're just gonna let it simmer for about 10 minutes. And then we're gonna be ready to put it in our jars and can it. I wish you guys were in my kitchen with me. I wish I had Smell-O-Rama on YouTube. You guys, the salsa has come to a boil and it is just simmering, and it is amazing. It smells delicious. I wish you could smell it with me. So here it is. It smells yummy. We're gonna let it simmer for about 5 more minutes, and then we will put it into our jars, and then it'll be time to give it a little hot water bath. Okay, the salsa is done. Okay, sorry about my light. The kitchen light over there decided to stop working, so you get me with a little aura over my head, but the salsa is done. It smells amazing, and it was so much easier than dicing up everything, right? So this is such a fast way of doing it. So it's time to put it in jars. So these jars came out of my hot water bath canner. I do that just kind of sterilize them, and it's better to not put hot salsa right into a cold jar either. So it's nice if they're at least lukewarm. So I have my funnel and I have my ladle, and we are going to start filling our jars. All right, so I'm gonna fill a couple of jars here and show you a little bit about what you wanna do to make sure that these actually seal when you take them out. Okay, so there's one filled jar. Oh, this is kind of hot, I forgot. So there's one filled jar. Let me fill another one. This smells so good. My daughter is gonna love this. I think I did a really good job making it not too chunky for her. Looks kind of like a Mexican restaurant. All right, so let me add a little bit more. So a couple of things, let me grab a towel. Okay, so a couple of things you want to know when you are filling your jars, okay? I like to fill to the bottom of the rim. Not anymore, okay? Or you risk not getting a good seal. The other thing you need to do before you put your lids and your rings on is just take the corner of a towel, I got mine wet, and just go around to make sure there's nothing on the top of this jar that is going to prevent your lid from sealing. Okay, and then you just take your clean lid, put it on there, and just hand tighten your jar. Okay, I usually have a long shirt on for this purpose because these jars are hot. So just hand tighten it. You don't have to make it super tight. In fact, you don't want to over tighten it, or the jar could explode, or it won't make a good seal. Okay, so we have our jars of salsa ready to go in the hot water bath canner. Yes. Okay, the jars are all filled, and it looks like I got 5 full pints of salsa and a little half pint jar. That's like why I said I always like to keep some smaller jars ready, because I always tend to have a little bit more. Now, if you wanted to, you could leave a small jar out, stick it after it cools, stick it in your refrigerator, and you could eat it just like this. Mrs. Wages is great because you do not have to can it. You can also freeze it if you prefer. But I tend to run out of freezer space, and when the electricity goes out for too long, it's always nice to have some things canned and preserved this way. So we are going to drop this down in the hot water bath canner and let it go for 40 minutes in the hot water bath canner. Now, if you were going to pressure cook this, it would take a lot less time, but I did not want to mess with getting my pressure canner out today. So this is a nice, safe, efficient way to make your own homemade salsa. Here we are 40 minutes later, and I am taking the salsa out of the hot water bath canner. Yay! So all of this is finished. Now we will let it sit, and hopefully we will hear them ping in a little bit, and we will have all of our jars sealed and have some salsa. I love having salsa made up. I need to do a few more batches. It's so much tastier than store-bought salsa, and I love that all of the tomatoes came from our garden here on our little farm. So thanks for joining me for my YouTube debut, and check back soon for more videos on things that this non-toxic farm mama wants to share with you.